It's WICR.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey Joe and Big Shot Rob back, finishing off today's episode of the Sports Vault. Did a lot of NBA, a lot of college football. So now, of course, we've got to finish off the show with everyone's favorite, the NFL. What a wild week 8. I mean, it just shows this league is just getting more and more difficult to predict. Hopefully, I'll be on pace if I get the win tonight. I'll have another 10-week season, so the picks are still going strong. But let's go over some of the big games. London got a very good game this week, and that was probably the best game that the NFL has brought to London. I mean, the Falcons are up 21-0 and going into the third quarter, and then the Lions just a complete turnaround in that game. But Rob, you got to give so much credit to Golden Tate. He is the Lions' offense.
Oh, he most definitely is. Now, with 48 receptions and 649 yards, and once Calvin Johnson comes back, Joe, Matthew Stafford has so many options, and this team could really dominate the rest of the year.
And that's been my concern about the Lions. I mean, it's just they've been the inability to get into rhythm. But you look at Jim Caldwell, and I think my dad and I were talking about this. He made a great point. I mean, you see last year, they kind of just let Matt Stafford do whatever he wanted with the ball. They let him take so many chances, and he wasn't afraid. He would just throw the ball into all these crazy windows, very bad passes. It led to a lot of turnovers. But Matt Stafford, you see, Jim Caldwell's being very more cautious with him. I think when he gets Calvin Johnson back, he'll open it up a little bit. But you can't argue with the Lions. They're winning. They're 6-2 right now. The results speak for themselves. Jim Caldwell is doing a phenomenal job there. Now let's keep on moving on. A couple other games. The Seattle Seahawks barely closing it out on the road against the Carolina Panthers, 13-9. Now, there's been so much talk about controversy with the Seahawks right now. They've dismissed it. I mean, Pete Carroll dismissed it. Russell Wilson dismissed it. But at the end of the day, Rob, this Seahawks team is just not as good as they were last year.
Oh, not even close. And I'm scared if they'll even make the playoffs, Joe.
Based on the way the Arizona Cardinals are playing, it's going to be tough to see.
Yeah. You look at, Joe, we look a year ago with the Seahawks wide receiver depth. You look at Sidney Rice. You have Golden Tate, Percy Harvin. Now you look at this year, they're down to Doug Baldwin. This team's not going to go far with Doug Baldwin.
No.
And now you have your best running back over the last couple of years, Marshawn Lynch, who's probably going to be out now in 2015 because reports are coming out about that. This Seattle team, there's a lot of turmoil in this locker room, and it's really going to kill them this year, and they're really going to suffer this year.
I agree with you. There are a lot of question marks there. Now let's go on to the next. This was probably the best 1 o'clock game. The Cincinnati Bengals beating the Baltimore Ravens 27-24. Now I was very critical of the Bengals. I picked the Ravens to win this game. The Bengals, this was a must-win game for them because they lost to the Patriots on Sunday Night Football. They tied against the Carolina Panthers. Then they just can't even put up any points against the Colts. So they bounced back here. Andy Dalton didn't even play that great of a game, but 266 yards, 0 touchdowns. Joe Flacco, again, 0 touchdowns as well. But at the end of the day, it's just, this is a battle between both these teams. The Bengals win both of them, which is going to help them out big time in the long run. But I still like the Ravens better as a team over the Bengals.
Yeah, I like the Ravens too, Joe. But with the Bengals, Dalton can't do anything without A.J. Green. We saw it the week before versus the Colts. We look at it this week again with no touchdowns. He's really going to struggle without the presence of A.J. Green on the field. But Joe Flacco, man, last 2 weeks the guy was putting up pretty decent numbers, and this week just comes out flat.
Yeah.
And this really is going to hurt them in the division.
That penalty at the end against Steve Smith, I was jumping up and down. I was excited for a minute, and then the pushed off killed me on that play. Let's go on to the next one. The New England Patriots just drumming the Chicago Bears at home, 51-23. I mean, the Bears, it is a mess. I mean, if I could sell the Bears, I would just do it in a heartbeat. I've been selling them, and I've been off that train for 2 weeks now. The Patriots just handing it to them. They've really been in rhythm. I think after they lost to the Chiefs on Monday Night Football, everybody was off them and how quickly we overreacted. The Patriots are fine right now, 6-2. They made the adjustments. Gronkowski was unbelievable in this game. 3 touchdowns, 9 receptions, 149 yards. Things are looking very good, and it sets up such a good matchup next week between Denver and New England. Those games are always great. But Rob, It's the Jets. I'm sorry. We have to get to the game. You just threw the piece of paper. Get to it, Rob. I'm giving you the floor. It is yours.
2 quarterbacks, 6 turnovers, 7 straight losses. Embarrassing. I don't know what I like about this New York Jets team. There's nothing to like about us. We are one of the worst teams in the NFL. The offense can't do anything. We pick up Percy Harvin. It wasn't that great for us. Geno Smith goes 2 for 8 yesterday with 3 interceptions, then gets benched. I'm very worried about this team. Start looking for a nice guy to draft, guys, because if you don't find somebody for the next couple weeks for your quarterback, this team is really in deep trouble. Our secondary is god-awful, just awful. We need somebody like Darrelle Revis. This Jets team is terrible.
Rob, is it the end? Are you calling it a quits on the Geno Smith era in New York? Is it over? Turning the page?
It's by far over. He's so down in Morrow right now. He's so down right now, and there's no way to help bring this guy back up.
Now, before we end, I just want to go over 2 more games quickly. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, look, I'm so adamant because you just look at this Cardinals team, and I don't think they get enough credit. This is a team that's 6-1. They were 10-6 last year. Bruce Arians is a master play caller. This defense is outstanding. I mean, you look at Philly, they were coming off their bye. They had extra time to prepare for this game. The Cardinals are going to be tested. Their schedule the rest of the way is very tough. They play the Seahawks and the 49ers the last 2 weeks, which is going to be big. But you know what? Bruce Arians is just such a good coach. Things work in Arizona. They are just an incredible football team.
Oh, they most definitely are, Joe. This defense is unbelievable in Arizona, and this team is winning the NFC West this year.
Now, the final game to get to is the Indianapolis Colts and the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was a pretty good day to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Ben Roethlisberger was as close to perfect as you could. 40 for 49 with 522 yards and 6 touchdowns. And Andrew Luck wasn't bad as well. 26 of 45, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. It was just a showdown. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers just had the Colts number, and the Colts you just really see defensively they have no personnel. I mean, they have no playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, and you just see at the end of the day it's been one of the things I've been very critical of with the Colts. They're just an inability to add playmakers, add talent to this defense, and you see this is just going to be such a detriment to the Colts because we saw it in the game they played against the Chiefs last year. At the end of the day, this is just a defense devoid of talent, and they're not going to be able to win anything until they start adding pieces to this defense.
Yeah, that defense really struggled versus Steelers. But, Joe, you have to give this to Andrew Luck. He was getting dominated this whole game versus Steelers. His team was getting dominated, and this guy amazes me because no matter how many points he's down, always finds a way to bring his team back and make it close. And I love his determination. And you know what, Joe? If he has a better defense, this team with the Colts, they're a Super Bowl team with Andrew Luck.
I couldn't agree more. I go back to parallels all the time between the Cavs with the LeBron the first time and Luck with the Colts now. These are just transcendent playmaking guys who just don't have the talent around them at the moment. And I think when the Colts figure that out and they start giving him the talent he needs, they're going to get a Super Bowl. So you got to surround this guy with talent. But at the end of the day, it was another good weekend in the NFL, another good show. Very excited, to get into the NBA season. This is a good week because this is one of those only a couple of days where we'll have football, basketball, hockey, baseball. They're all going to be intertwined for this couple of days this week. So enjoy it. It's one of the best sports weeks of the week. Thank you for joining us, and everybody have a great day.